So, preventive joint medicine should also consider joint care. And how do we care for the joints? Well, one of the big things is just simple, slow, progressive conditioning. You don't take your horse that's not been in work for a period of time and go out and, you know, do a full Grand Prix test, okay? That's probably not really good for their joints if they're out of shape. And so slow, progressive conditioning, bringing the horse along, and that's the thing, you know, if you've had the good fortune of have a horse that started at low level and came through the discipline in dressage, and they've gradually learned to do the movements and so forth, then they've been slowly and progressively conditioned, and that's great, as long as they haven't had a setback or an injury or illness that's caused them to have a period of layoff. And if they do, then you've got to back up a little bit, and you've got to move forward slowly with lots of walking and trotting and slow canter work to get those joints and ligaments ready to take the stresses of more extended movement and so forth. Prophylactic anti-arthritics such as Adequan and Legend are very useful. I'm an Adequan fan. I think that there's multiple ways you can give it. I think once a month is probably not very useful. I think if you're going to give it on a periodic basis, either do the series of 7 doses as the company recommends, maybe quarterly, or in the middle of competition times when you're actively showing, give it weekly. So it can vary how you do it, but I think once a month you probably could spend your money on something else. Other products are available, but they may be compounded or intended for joint lavage. For example, polyglycan is not approved for use intravenously or intramuscularly in the horse for the prevention of joint disease. Yes, I know, there's a bunch of you in here that use it, for sure. But it's not the same as Legend, and it's not the same as Adequan. The polysulfated glycosamine glycan that is in Legend, in Adequan, is a much more sophisticated, much more heavily sulfonated molecule than that which is in the polyglycan product. Polyglycan is a legitimate product. It was designed and initially approved for joint lavage, to wash a joint out with it, and to leave a residue in the joint, and it has been shown to be disease modifying in that situation. However, it has not been demonstrated clearly to be disease modifying when given systemically, unless you give it at twice the recommended dose, which costs just as much as Adequan and Legend. Think about it. And I don't work for either company. Yes.
Do you recommend using both Legend and Adequan?
I like Legend as a Legend. It gives you a fairly quick effect. It has a nice effect on quieting down synovitis in the joint, inflammation of the joint. I usually use it just prior to competition. Typically is how I would recommend using it. And if you've got a series of several classes during the week at a big competition, well, I might give it to the horses multiple times. Depends on what the pocket.
But you've given both. You've given both.
Yeah, use them both. Yeah. Yeah, because they work in a different way. They work in a different way. So anyway, they're good products. They're useful. And, you know, like I say, the polyglycan product may very well work, but there's just no good scientific data that it does. Oral nutraceuticals, there's a lot of debate about those. Glucosamine, chondroitin sulfate, Cosequin being one of the products that we think about. They're the only company that's really done, besides Platinum. Platinum also has some products that are probably pretty good. And Cosequin and Nutramax, they're about really the only company that's really done some significant research or try to prove that their product actually ends up in the joint. But there's a lot of debate about how glucosamine and chondroitin sulfate, because they're very complex molecules, how they're absorbed. One thing I can tell you is in the Cosequin ASU product, the avocado soy unsaponifiable, that's the ASU, that has been proven to be in bona fide peer-reviewed research, has been shown to be anti-inflammatory. Yes.
Have you had any experience, like, or shown any difference between like Adequan when it's given intra-articularly versus like IM? Because
well, we don't use it much IA anymore. We used to use a great deal of it years ago when we didn't have some of the newer products we've got now, which I'll get into in a few minutes. But it definitely has a profound effect intra-articularly. And yeah, would I say that the effect is more profound given intra-articularly? Absolutely. I think so. The problem with intra-articular Adequan is that it has an immunosuppressive effect, and there have been incidences of flares and infections more commonly with intra-articular Adequan. So you have to be very careful how you use it, and it's generally recommended that intra-articular antibiotics are given with it. So we've got a lot of other products now that we use that just, I can't remember the last time I gave an intra-articular dose of Adequan. I used to use it almost daily.
Do you think it works just as effectively when given intramuscularly?
It's hard to say. It works when it's given intramuscularly if you believe the research. And the research would indicate lameness grade improvement in a series of injections. And so, and it's peer reviewed, and it appears to be a valid product. There's some people that say it doesn't work, of course, but there's some people that say the Holocaust didn't occur either. So, it's just what you want to believe. But you need to have your products that you use, look for them. I think the message I'm trying to send is look for products that have some backing of some kind of research and proof of efficacy.